Okay, good morning, everyone. Thanks for rejoining our session this morning. And just as a reminder, you're here at San Jose State virtually. And my name is Deanna Gonzalez. I'm the Director of Undergraduate Admissions. You have joined the Virtual Counselor Conference. Welcome. Our next presenter is Dr. Elaine Collins from the College of Science. And we'll hear from her and her team and her colleagues about their wonderful programs and resources in the college. Dr. Collins, you're ready.
Okay, thank you so much, Deanna. Welcome, everybody. And I have with me today Shelley Cargill from the Chair of the Department of Biology and Monica Kress, the Chair of the Department of Physics, and they'll be talking a little bit later. And so right now, I will share my screen. Okay, so again, welcome. And the College of Science, we have 7 departments in the College of Science. We offer 23 different undergraduate degrees. We have 111 full-time tenured and tenure-track faculty. We have 150 lecturers, 2,720 undergraduates, 397 graduates, and our programs are normally hands-on and lab-oriented, although this past year we've had to adapt to a lot of online learning. And we also encourage undergraduate students to become involved with research and projects with faculty. And we have over 20 student organizations that are associated with the College of Science. And so here's a list of our departments. We have biological sciences, chemistry, computer science, geology, mathematics and statistics, meteorology and climate science, physics and astronomy. We also have a science education program, which monitors students in our credentialing program in science. And we also have Moss Landing Marine Labs as part of our college. And so one thing that we're really excited about is we're in the process of building a new science building, the Interdisciplinary Science Building, which has been being constructed on schedule pretty much during this COVID-19 time. And so we anticipate that it will open at the end of fall 2021. And we'll move in the spring, and we'll be able to start offering classes there in the building in spring 2022. And this is the newest building we have in the College of Science. Our next oldest building was built in the 60s. So we really do need an updated, more modern facility. So we're very excited about our new building that's coming. So we'll start with biology. And so Shelley, do you want to talk about the programs and some opportunities that students have in your department?
Yes, thank you very much. In biology, we offer 6 different undergraduate degrees, with our BA in biology being the most flexible degree that many students choose so that they can tailor the courses that they would like to take towards maybe their career goals or towards some different professional schools like optometry school and pharmacy school. And then we have 5 BS degrees. We have independent freestanding BS in ecology and evolution, as well as a BS in marine biology. And then we have 3 BSs in biological sciences with different concentrations, being molecular biology, microbiology, and systems physiology. Generally speaking, a lot of students take the molecular biology concentration if they are interested in going into biotechnology work and getting industry jobs within biotechnology. A lot of students that take the microbiology concentration are interested in the clinical lab scientist program, which is a certificate program that students enter after graduation. And many students that take systems physiology are interested in a pre-professional path, such as med school, dental school, veterinary school, etc. The biology department has active research opportunities. Most of our faculty have active research labs, and we encourage students to participate in research and get some hands-on experience in that way. Also, if students don't want to take that research route, they do get lots of hands-on opportunities under normal conditions in our laboratories. We're very lab heavy, and students get to have experience that way in order to be able to take it into their careers. I think that's all I have for right now, and then I'll answer questions later.
Okay, thank you, Shelley. And then we also have our chemistry department, which offers 3 degrees: BA Chemistry, BS Chemistry, and BS Chemistry Concentration Biochemistry. Just as with biology, a lot of pre-professional students and pre-medical students also take chemistry degrees, and especially the concentration in biochemistry. And again, chemistry is also a very research active program, and is very involved with undergraduate research, and encourages a lot of encourages all students to take advantage of being able to do an undergraduate research project if that works for them in their schedule. And our computer science department has 1 degree, BS Computer Science. And again, there's a lot of opportunities for students to do projects with faculty in computer science. Our BS Computer Science is also our most highly impacted degree, and I'll be talking about impaction a little bit later, but it's one of the most impacted degrees on campus, so it can be very difficult to get into the program. Our geology department has 2 degrees. They are offering a new degree starting this, fall 2021. I have the date wrong there. It'll be BS Earth Science Systems. So more than geology, it studies atmosphere, ocean, geology, all the Earth systems. And this is replacing a BA Earth Science degree that we previously had, which we will no longer be offering. And then the BS Geology degree. And this is the largest CSU geology department in the Bay Area. And again, the faculty are actively involved in research with students, and encourage students to join their research groups also. Almost all of their graduates end up employed in earth sciences or go on to graduate school. And our mathematics and statistics department offers several degrees. They have a BA in mathematics, a BA in mathematics integrated teacher education program, which is a program where students can get their bachelor's degree and their teaching credential at the same time. So any of your students that are interested in secondary education in mathematics, this is a great program for them. It gets them done 1 year sooner than a traditional degree and then a credential program. We also have a BS, several BSs in applied mathematics with concentrations in applied and computational mathematics and statistics. And and by the way, our biology department is our largest department with over 1,000 undergraduate students in it. And computer science is our second largest with about 800 students. And our math is our 3rd largest program with over 400 students in it. The math department also has a Campos Center, a Center of Applied Math, Computation, and Statistics, and students can work under the supervision of a professor on industrial math problems in collaboration with local businesses, government, and industry. So that's a great opportunity for undergraduate students to take advantage of also. Our BS Meteorology and Climate Science department is the only meteorology and climate science department in the CSU. So the only place you can get a degree in meteorology. And so they offer 2 degrees, a BS in meteorology and a BS Meteorology Concentration Climate Science. And they're in the process of converting the climate science into its own degree. So probably in next, maybe next fall, it'll be BS Climate Science. And As I said, this is the only department like it in the CSU. Study knowledge, study atmosphere, atmospheric sciences, and we also have a very active wildfire component to our department. And so there are lots of opportunities for students to study meteorology. And this is the picture here is with one of our wildfire professors with his students up on the roof of Duncan Hall pre-COVID, looking at some of their equipment for measuring atmospheric conditions. And we are very excited because San Jose State now is has one of the first centers for applied atmospheric research and education in California. So we have our own fire weather research laboratory. It's an interdisciplinary lab with program with faculty from all over the university, not just meteorology, but also biology faculty participate, sociology, environmental studies, engineering. So dedicated to uncovering the science behind fire atmosphere interactions and wildfires. So, and also an exciting opportunity for undergraduate students to do research in that lab. And then our last department is our physics and astronomy department. And so I'll let Monica Kress tell you about that department.
All right, thanks, Elaine. Can you guys hear me okay? Okay, great. So in the Department of Physics and Astronomy, we offer 3 degrees. We offer a BA in physics, which is a good option for students who enjoy the study of physics, and perhaps they also have some other interest, and maybe in computer science or math, or even business, philosophy. We've had students take minors in all different kinds of disciplines, and so the BA in physics is really good for students that are not necessarily intending on going on into like physics graduate school or employed as physicists in the workforce. And then we have a BA in physics that has very specifically chosen electives such that it moves the students towards a credential that will allow them to teach in the public school. And that's our BA physics teacher preparation. It doesn't actually get them all the way to the credential, but they can have strategic choice of their electives at the upper division level. And that kind of gets them closer and has a choice of courses such that they're well prepared to teach not just physics, but pretty much any kind of physical science at the high school level. And then our BS in physics is a very rigorous program where the students are taking, essentially all their electives at the upper division level are all within physics and astrophysics. And so as our name implies, we do have a lot of, several astronomy faculty, and we teach a lot of upper division courses in astrophysics, as well as general education courses that any students can take. And so our students typically go on to kind of like engineering type of careers. They're very well prepared in computational disciplines. Our department was the first in the entire campus to offer a course taught in the programming language Python, which is, the kids these days will tell you Python is the thing to program in. And so our areas of research, many of our faculty engaged small armies of students in their research programs. And so we offer programs in astrophysics. And so you can see here actually, I'm not sharing, I'm used to teaching online. I'm not sharing my screen here, but the picture on the right is a whole bunch of our physics majors took a field trip to the Lake Observatory right here on Mount Hamilton, which I can almost see from where I'm sitting right now. And so they took a field trip up there to check out this historic observatory. Many of our undergraduates who engage in astrophysics research have been able to go to research observatories around the world. And their undergraduate research. And we also have research programs in optics, and that's the photo on the left is of Dr. Switz. He's on the left in the pink shirt. And so Dr. Switz is an expert in the optics that go into biomedical devices that are deployed to the third world in the developing countries to basically help diagnose illnesses such as the organism that causes river blindness. They can diagnose tuberculosis and things like that. So it gives you an idea of the incredible disparate type of careers that our students can get exposure to by getting a degree with us. And then finally, another highlight in our department. So we have physics education research, which helps students prepare if they're perhaps going into teaching or they want to study graduate at the graduate level education, going into like education research professions. And also we have a large and growing effort in the quantum sciences. And so the National Science Foundation and the National Science and Technology Council have identified quantum computing as a big area of growth in the coming years. And we're going to need a quantum fluent workforce to work on the quantum computers that are currently being developed. So those are the highlights of our department. And so I would encourage anybody out there to, look me up, send me an email if you have any additional questions about the programs that we offer in physics and astronomy.
Okay, thank you, Monica. So we really do encourage all of our undergraduate students to become involved in research. And every year, the National Science Foundation awards graduate research fellowships to people who apply to graduate school. And San Jose State usually has anywhere between 1 and 4 and 5 or 4 and 5 awardees of this fellowship that pays for 4 years of graduate school plus travel and supply money and salary for them. And our 2 awardees for 2020 were Jocelyn Valenzuela, who's focusing on chemical engineering, and Nabat Ali on biological science. So we do produce very competitive, well-prepared students for graduate school, professional school, and the workforce. So the next few slides are slides that I share with students at transfer orientation, because a lot of students want pre-professional degrees, want to go to professional school when they graduate, but they don't necessarily know what degree they need. And there is really no specific pre-professional degree at San Jose State University, and professional schools do not require a specific degree. They require prerequisite classes. So I always tell the students that they should choose a degree that they can excel in, because GPA does count, and they should be studying things they're passionate about. They don't necessarily need to have a specific science degree or a specific biology degree or chemistry. They just need to have a degree that allows them the flexibility to take all of the prerequisite courses for their professional program while they're still an undergraduate. And there's a lot of degrees outside of the College of Science that fulfill those degrees. And of course, a lot of our degrees already include a lot of those prerequisite courses as part of their degree, but there's no one right kind of degree that students need to have. So encourage your students to pursue a degree that they're passionate about, and if they want to go to professional school, that allows enough electives that they can have the flexibility to take all the required prerequisite courses. We do offer some college-specific scholarships, which students can apply for even before they arrive. The College of Science deadline is April 30th, 2021 for our scholarships for next year. And they can do that through the financial aid page, because we have an application that has most of the campus-wide scholarships in one place. So they apply one time and it'll find all of the scholarships that they're eligible for. So encourage your students to take a look at the financial aid page and sign up for scholarships, because we have a lot of scholarships, even within just our college, that we can't award because nobody applied for them. And so we really want to be able to give that money to our students to help them get through their degree. And so really encourage your students to apply for scholarships by April 30th. Every semester for our incoming students, we have transfer orientations by the campus, and each of our college participates in that. So all of the students that are in the College of Science will meet with me and the people from our College of Science Advising Center, and we help them get oriented to San Jose State and help them figure out their schedule for the next semester. In the college, we have a college-specific advising center that offers GE advising and some major advising for students. Plus, we handle all of our orientations and help students get set for their first semester. We also have an early warning program, so we monitor students for their major GPA and degree progress. And through the College of Science Advising Center, we provide help for students that are struggling and not staying on track to graduate in a timely manner. And also what I tell students as they transition to San Jose State, that it really is another transition. Even though they've already made the transition from college to community college to San Jose State is another transition. We have a lot of different processes and deadlines than you have at the community colleges. And as you know, a lot of our students have outside employment, so time management is often challenging. It's also often challenging the first semester when they're adjusting from lower division courses that they took at community college and making the transition to taking upper division courses at San Jose State. And so we encourage them to look at their own situation and come up with a schedule that works for them, basing a 12-unit load on about 36 hours of work per week, and 15 units is about 45 hours of work per week. We have, in addition to what we have in the College of Science, we have a lot of other places on campus that help promote student success. We have tutoring in our own advising center, and there's tutoring across campus, including late night tutoring in the library, which a lot of students like a lot. They can take, go to the library from like 8 p.m. to midnight and get drop-in free tutoring. We have a lot of workshops associated with our class, supplemental instruction. We have peer advisors and peer mentors. We have a lot of student clubs and pre-professional clubs. So we really have a lot of support for students within the college and across the university. And then I always tell students that they need to, if they're struggling in a class, they need to get help early, form study groups, join clubs, explore intern and research opportunities, make an effort to meet the faculty, and take advantage of the resources that we have. And then we also have a class that works especially well for transfer students their first semester. And we encourage our students that start as freshmen to take it in their sophomore or junior year. It's a course we offer in collaboration with a nonprofit called Braven, and it's a leadership and career accelerator. It's called UNVS 101. Sorry, the card, I tried to put a newer card on, but I was having technical difficulties. So we've renamed the class from Science 75 or 125 to just UNVS 101. And so what this class does is it gives students practice telling their story and knowing that their life story is a valuable and positive asset, not a negative asset, and gives practice with finding their passion, finding what kind of career they might be interested in if they don't know yet, doing resumes, interviews, elevator pitches. And the class is set up as a 2-unit lecture that's fully online, and then a once a week activity section that's 2 hours, and usually it's in person, although we've been virtual this past year. And in the activity section, they're paired up with, they work in teams of 5 to 8 students with a leadership coach that is only working with those students, who's a volunteer from the local industry in the Silicon Valley. And they work the whole semester with this coach who helps them work on these skills together and build team working and giving positive feedback and accepting feedback. And at the end of the class, the last third of the class, the team works on a challenge that's posed by the local industry, a local company, and they present a solution to that challenge. And then as their final, they present their pitch, and the winning team usually gets a prize, like a whole day where they get to go to that company and spend the day there and find out all about the different positions that are in that particular company. And so it's a really great class for students to become connected with other students and starting to build their professional network. And especially the first semester for transfer students, since they're registering for classes later than our current students, they can't always fill their schedule, or sometimes they're missing a prerequisite, and so they can't really take the next class yet. So it's an elective class that's very valuable in helping them prepare for the job market or their pre-professional or professional or graduate school. And so we promote this to them also at transfer orientation. And then the time with us is very short. They only have 2 or 3 years, hopefully, once they get to us, and they need to start thinking about their future career. And our Career Center does have a lot of resources that are online that they can start using already to, once they apply, they can start using to help build their resume and skills for the workforce. And so, as you all know, we are an impacted campus, and so we do have supplemental impaction criteria for all of our, sorry, that should say fall 2021 transfer admission. And we also give preference to students that have an associate degree for transfer, and you can hear more about that in the admissions talk later. Also, for the College of Science, as I mentioned before, our most impacted degree is our computer science degree, but all of our programs are considered impacted. So we have program-specific preparatory courses that we would like the students to finish while they're in community college. And this includes all of our biological science degree programs, all our chemistry degree programs, BS computer science, all geology, math, statistics, meteorology, climate science, physics, and astronomy. But there's a difference. Some programs are not very impacted, and so even if they don't take any of the program-specific preparatory classes, they can still often get in with a 2.0 at the community as their all-college GPA. Some have to have a slightly higher GPA, maybe a 2.2 or a 2.4, unless they've taken one or more of the classes. But with the BS Computer Science, the students have to have taken all of the 5 required preparatory classes, and they have to have an all-college GPA of about 3.8 to get accepted into the computer science program. So But really, if they want to finish in 2 years when they get here, if they've taken all those preparatory classes, that would be the ideal. So the more you can encourage students to do that, the better. And these are the ADT degrees that we have. We have one in biology, chemistry, computer science, geology, math, and physics. And I don't really want to, I'll just show briefly the required classes for the different departments. So here's biology, chemistry, BS chemistry, computer science, math, physics, and that's it. So what we'd like now is to answer any questions that you might have for us, and Kim is going to help us with that, our College of Science administrative assistant. Okay, Kim?
Hi, everybody. Okay.
You have any
yeah, we just have a couple so far. Let's see. I'll start. Okay, hold on. I feel like the ones that were there earlier are not there anymore. Okay, I have a question for the Department of Science. Are all your department, do all of your department accept credit for prior learning, especially for military service and training for transfer to apply toward the degree? Would you like me to repeat that?
Sure. Oh, Monica, if you answered questions already, do you want to
you
answer them out
answered.
loud?
Oh, that's why I couldn't find them. Okay.
Yeah, they're in answered, but they're still there.
Okay.
Somebody was asking about, well, actually, just before you launched into it, somebody asked, what are the admission screening criteria for majors in the College of Science? And so you already touched on that, but I just pointed out that it's dependent upon the major.
Right.
And, you know, the higher demand majors have a higher GPA for admission and that kind of thing. And then somebody else asked about, do most students in the College of Science pursue a graduate degree because of the limitations they may find with their BS for career or job opportunities? And my answer to that was, I just answered based on what I know about my department. And in my department, our students graduate with such a amazing skill set, both in terms of the programming and also the hands-on skills that they learn in our upper division labs, that they find very good jobs. And even though they may have thought about like, oh, maybe I'll do, you know, a PhD or a master's degree in physics, but then they see how much what they can go make at Google and Apple. They're like, yeah, I'm good. I'll just go straight to Google. But I'll let the others chime in if you guys have different experience.
Yeah. Shelley, what would you say for your biology students?
I would say many of our biology graduates go right into careers. They find lucrative careers in biotech and pharmaceuticals and things like that. Although there are some very specific areas where a graduate degree is almost essential. So for example, marine biology is one where without having a master's degree, you're probably going to be a little bit more limited on what you are able to find. We have many students who are interested in professional school. And so clearly, if you want to pursue that, then you're going to have to go on to graduate school, right? To med school or dental school. And there was another question about that. Somebody had asked about support to guide students towards graduate school at med school, pharmacy school, and dental. And I'll answer that. The biology department actually provides pre-professional advising for pre-med, pre-dental, pre-pharmacy, pre-optometry. And then almost every faculty member is able to provide resources and guidance on graduate schools.
And we also have some pre-professional clubs that's like a veterinary club or pre-med clubs, pre-optical, that also help students figure out how to navigate to professional school. And as far as general transferring units, we have articulation. Most of our classes are articulated with most of you already, and we try to give students credit for the classes they've taken. And I think Deanna in her next session can answer your more specific questions about military service and things like that. Any other questions? Do we have more questions, Kim?
Yes, we do. I don't know if you guys want to look over these and answer them, or you want me to. I didn't realize you could see them as well. So it's up to you. I'm happy to read them, but it might be.
Why don't you read them?
Okay. Do all of the preparatory courses need to be letter grades, since GPA for the major prep is so important?
All the courses in our, I think in most of our degree programs here require, they're graded when they take them here. Of course, during COVID, last semester, we did give students credit, no credit, but anything that's required for, especially if they want to go to medical school or professional school, they should have them be graded. And when they're taking things for the degree, when they're here, we require that they're graded. Did you want to add anything to that, Shelley or Monica?
I'd like to add, if I could, from an admissions point of view, if that's okay. So the
Sure.
supplemental coursework is, I think that's what the question might be pertaining to. So we do want the supplemental coursework required for the impaction review to be completed with a C grade or better. And it's in our impaction plan. I'll talk more about those grades later on in this afternoon. However, just so you know, it's a C or better. And during COVID, just like Elaine was saying, on our campus, we allowed a credit or pass grade. You at the community college as well were giving credit pass grades, as long as that credit pass was equal to a C grade in your legend on your transcript, then we allow it. So a C grade or better on the supplemental courses is required.
And did you want to go ahead and answer the question about if we give credit for military service?
Gosh, I was going to sneak away, but no, I will answer that. We do allow some credit from the military transcripts that might come from our military service individuals. To meet admissions requirements, we could utilize that or post the transfer credit. Now, if it's towards a degree, that's not, our admissions office does not post transfer credit towards the actual coursework for a degree. That would have to be a case-by-case situation. Dr. Verovic from College of Business answered that question in the earlier session as well. It's case-by-case. It is the, up to the program to decide if that course can substitute, or that work in the military service can substitute for work, coursework. So I think it's a very general question in terms of our service individuals who have the work experience, and that we require a JTS transcript to review their work. So there are some credits that we can give for general ed credit, transfer credit.
And
Okay.
when in our individual departments, when students ask about courses they've taken other places for the major, we do the best we can to be fairly flexible about how the match goes. Maybe Shelley or Monica want to answer more about how you decide if a course is equal, if it's not articulated.
If it's not articulated, then we have a process where the student can submit for an equivalency request, where it is evaluated by the faculty member who teaches the equivalent class at San Jose State to determine if the content and everything is the same. And we review those large numbers of those regularly.
Yeah, we have a similar process, and in physics, there's very well established curricula. So, you know, the AP physics, what did they change the numbers? Like AP physics, B and C, those are all very well established curricula that map onto what they do in you know, in algebra based physics, and you know, versus the engineering or calculus based physics. And so it's usually pretty obvious based on the textbook that they use, how many semesters, how much material they covered in a semester, how much lab work they did. So it's usually pretty clear. And we do look at all of those things.
Thanks.
Okay, are you ready for the next question?
Sure.
Okay, we have a couple of questions about computer science. One is, did you say for the computer science degree they need a GPA of 3.8 along with preparatory coursework to be accepted? And also, does the computer science program have a pipeline with any community colleges?
Okay, I'll answer the second part first.
Okay.
At the moment, we don't have a pipeline with any of the local community colleges, but I'm sure that we would be happy to explore that if people are interested. And Deanna can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that the impaction for fall 2020 was that students had to have a 3.8 GPA in all 5 of the courses. If they had if they had 4 courses, they had to have over a 4.0, which probably meant they had to have a bump from, but Deanna can explain more about how that was calculated. Is that close? Am I close, Deanna? Yeah.
Yeah, yes. The impaction results we'll talk about later this afternoon. However, just so people know, the 3.8 would have been the GPA to enter with the 5 courses. The fewer courses that you had to have a higher GPA. And then I think we only allowed, because your college, or excuse me, your computer science department only had space for so many students, that beyond maybe 3 courses, we couldn't take anybody. So the cutoff was it goes up higher. So if you didn't have the 3.8, but you had all 5, you might be in. It just varies based on the capacity. So we'll talk about the results later in my session.
Thanks.
Okay, the next question would be for an incoming freshman. Say, for example, they wanted to major in kinesiology. What are the chances of them getting into the required prerequisite classes, like, for example, general biology, chemistry, and physics for professional school in the first couple of years?
Well, I'll let Shelley answer that for biology, because it's pretty true for the other ones, and then I'll let Monica go. Okay?
Sure.
So we have enrollment restrictions on our general biology courses in order to allow pre-registration by all majors that require the course first. So if the course is required, obviously in biology, but also there's a number of other programs that have biology 30 and 31 as required courses, students in those degree plans get priority registration. And then other students who would like to take the class, but it's not in their degree plan, have the opportunity to add usually at the beginning of the semester. Lately, we have been able to accommodate the vast majority of students, even when they're adding on the first day, but it is not a guarantee for sure.
Yeah, I would really emphasize that point that Shelley just made. The reason that students do not get into the classes they need in my department is because they waited until, you know, either the last minute to register, or they, you know, pushed it even later and walked in the second week of the semester and then start asking, you know, can I add this lab that I've already missed the first 2 lab, you know, that kind of thing. And so I really try to encourage students to get, even like if they get their names on wait lists, I can open another section, and we can do that. But when I have dozens, if not hundreds of students showing up on the third day of the semester saying, okay, I'd like to add, that's when I'm like, that's when students don't get the classes they need. It's because we didn't know they needed them. So we want to make sure to get that message out. But if students are registering during their normal registration window, even students who are repeating can actually add ahead of the semester these days. As of, I don't know, I guess it was last year they started doing that. They'll be able to get their classes that they need. If in the case of repeating, they may need to be a little bit flexible to add that, one of those, 3 or 4 labs that still have seats open. They won't necessarily get their first choice of everything, but they have to register in advance. And if they do that, I will personally guarantee they will get the classes they need in my department.
And I know chemistry and math also work really hard to get all the students that need those classes into them. Kim?
There's another question that I see that is somewhat relevant. It asks about the average class size for prerequisite classes for professional schools. And that's a pretty wide open question because there's a lot of courses that are requested as prereqs for professional schools. But generally our lower division majors courses tend to be a little bit larger, and our upper division more specific courses tend to be smaller.
And I assume that's also true for physics. Monica?
Yeah, our class sizes have it varies by which class, but all of our physics classes that would fall under the sort of pre-professional are have the lab components where they have a much closer interaction. So some of the smaller lectures might be 45 students, 40 to 45. The larger lectures are 150 to 200, but they all have opportunities to break out and and work in small groups.
And that's true in chemistry too. They have large lectures up to 200 students, but they have labs that are 20 or 25 students.
Okay, another question. Do departments or San Jose State in general send out emails to students to get on wait lists so that they are aware?
I can answer that. I would say that students are pretty aware that when they're not able to register for a course that they need to then contact the instructor, and we make sure that we communicate that with students that we know of. But it's the biology department doesn't send to the university as a whole.
Right. And when they're registering in the class, I think it asks them if they want to be on a wait list as they register. And certainly when we work with the transfer students, when they come to orientation, if they're able to actually enroll while they're there, then we make sure they're enrolled in classes that aren't waitlisted as much as possible. And even after orientation's over in our college, they can still, through COSAC, through our advising center, get help with making sure they get into the classes that they need.
Okay, another question. How can a community college transfer attain a GPA above 4.0 for the computer science major?
I think that's with the local GPA boost, but Deanna would know more about that.
Well, yeah, I mean, someone who doesn't have all 5 of the coursework, or they have fewer than 5, the higher the GPA goes. So if I have a 3.5 and I'm a local student, I get a 0.25 GPA boost or bump. And that could help me to raise that GPA to meet the computer science major. But, you know, really it's about course preparation and major preparation. It's not about just getting the GPA. The reason why we have supplemental criteria is that we had students some years ago come to San Jose State without the prep courses in the major, and they were not prepared to be successful and to graduate. So in an effort to improve our graduation rates and improve student success is the reason why we have the coursework. And why we are doing that is also to help this capacities in the programs. But the main piece is preparation and helping students be successful. It's not about, you know, just the GPA. So,
No.
you know that if a student is a high achieving student with a GPA, but hasn't taken the coursework preparation, they're going to have a harder time competing with students who have those courses or are native students who are taking those courses and are already registered for them. So they're competing for courses, you know, and we just talked about wait lists. So we don't want students to be on wait lists. We want them to be able to attain classes and be successful in registering.
Right. And I just want to add, thank you so much, Deanna. And I just want to add that because science and engineering in particular have very sequential and parallel prerequisite trees, if a student comes to San Jose State and has only taken GE classes, then there's no way they can finish in 4 years because they'll have to be at San Jose State for 4 years. And we really don't want it's misleading to the students. They think they've already finished 2 years. They think they're halfway done, but it really, they're not if they have if they need this class before they can take the next class and the next 3 classes. So it's in their best, and we all know from the research that the longer students take to graduate, the less likely they are to finish because they start to have financial impacts and other pressure on them. So in order for people to really be able to finish in 60 units and 2 years when they arrive at San Jose State, which we hope all of our transfer students can do, they really have to have taken those major required prerequisites.
Could I jump in here real quick and build on that? So the 2 main reasons students who transfer in to get a physics degree that they don't finish on time is exactly what Elaine just said, that they don't have all of the lower division physics and math and chemistry completed. And even those that do, many of them may have taken 3 or 4 years to accumulate that much and to get that far. And then they come, you know, because maybe they're just taking a couple classes a semester, or, you know, maybe they didn't make it through the class on the first attempt. And in physics, when they come in their first semester as a transfer student and take 4 upper division physics classes plus you know, one of the SJSU studies upper division GE classes, it's like, you know, kaboom. It's just way too much. The courses are, you know, just much more demanding of their time and attention than they're used to. They don't really, you know, they just were not prepared that it was basically a full-time job to take a load like that. So, that's the main reason that students don't make it out. And, you know, like theoretically they can, if you look at the 4-year plan, that our prerequisites are set up such they can do that. But it's just the workload. It's not that they can't handle it. They just need a semester or 2 to adjust and to get the study skills and to build up a little, you know, cadre of pals that encourage and support them along the way.
I'm going to chime in on that one as well. Students can graduate in 2 years at transfer, but they really have to have all of those prereq courses. our biggest problem in biology is students not completing their organic chemistry and their physics. And those are prereqs for almost all of their upper division courses. And so they are not going to be able to get out in 2 years unless they make sure that they get those prereqs done.
Okay, are we, my internet is unstable, by the way, so everybody keeps freezing, but you kind of answered this question, but I think that I think Lila's asking, how easy is it for the transfer students to get the classes they need to complete their program in 2 years?
Like I said, when they come for transfer orientation, we really try our best to get them into the classes they're eligible for. And if they're eligible for the upper division classes, we try to make space for them and help them get in, because we do want them. And depending on the major, some of those upper division classes have a lot more space.
Yeah, and in my
Biology,
department,
it's sometimes tricky.
yeah, in my department, I would say the same thing. If I know they're coming, there'll be a spot for them. But if they wait until, the first day of classes or 2 weeks into the semester, they may not necessarily get the classes they need. If they wait too long, I just won't let them in, even if there is space. I don't want them adding quantum mechanics 2 weeks into the semester.
And we do pretty much manage our enrollment as we go along. And as we see that the demand is there, we try to open classes.
There was one question that I overlooked because I think it was pertained to business and engineering. So Alicia, I just want to let you know that maybe Deanna could answer it. It was, do all other programs, majors such as business, engineering, and other majors offer an elective class that gives hands-on experience, say 2.0 elective units? So I didn't want you to think I bypassed that. I just thought it could be answered maybe later. Yeah.
I think most of the degree programs in engineering are they don't even have a lot of free electives, but I think a lot of the programs in science and engineering anyway are very hands-on to begin with. I'm not sure if that's quite the question.
I think they were asking about business and engineering, so.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I can answer that question either, but I think that engineering definitely has there's lab courses and classes that they might be utilizing a different modality of learning, but I don't really know the answer to that question, to be fair. Thanks.
And there are a lot of there are some electives out there that are open to any student in any major that encourage entrepreneurship and leadership and different types of business challenges that are open to the whole universe, or innovative challenges that are, there are classes that are associated with that, but there's also co-curricular activities that are available for that. And I think we're pretty close to our time limit. So I just want to, again, thank you all for coming. And Kim, can you put the College of Science info email in the chat?
Sure. Just our main website and maybe the advising center as well? Okay.
Yeah. And again, all of us, our emails are pretty easy to find because it's our first name and our last name at SJSU. So we're happy to hear from you too if you have more questions that we didn't answer.